go ahead and get the meeting started. Oh, that'd be good, I guess. We're just here to talk about 1759, the weeds chapter again. I'll just open the floor for discussion. I know we had some issues. I think Emily had a grasp on what we wanted to change, even though our guest tonight is Miss Franzen.
Hi, I'm not on this committee. Also, Keith is not.
No.
But
That's true.
here I am. So I think the key thing was like, right now, as it's defined, if it's not a weed on this noxious weed list or grass, technically it wouldn't be able to be cited, even if it was clearly overgrown. So when I looked at other cities, is you have areas that are managed, like a garden, or unmanaged. If it's unmanaged, and if you add the word vegetation to be kind of more broad, the grass and vegetation and not just weeds,
Over 8 inches.
over 8 inches, then that kind of solves that problem.
Yeah.
And a garden bed is something that is pretty clearly, I guess I can't, I don't want to do law speak and.
It's intended to be managed.
It's
Yeah.
intended to be
Right.
managed
Yeah.
versus an unmanaged, weedy, crappy, overgrown lot. So in that way, I mean, the intent of this is just so that we don't have a bunch of overgrown lots everywhere. And that we don't have a bunch of poison ivy potentially causing horrible skin rashes to people like me.
And me.
Yeah. I'm the most important one.
Self-interest.
But, yeah.
You're not on the committee.
So that was kind of my thoughts, because I'd looked up with like Cincinnati's and Masons and other ones, and that's kind of what they do to thread that needle between allowing people to have, obviously plants grow higher than 8 inches. We don't want to have site people's gardens,
Right.
but we also don't want to have just like a horror show of crap in people's backyards. I probably
Right.
shouldn't use the crap word in council.
It's
Does-
it's
Too
late.
late. Too late.
Does that fix it?
That probably, so the idea is to add it,
Any grass or vegetation in excess of 8 inches of height in unmanaged areas,
Yeah, that
something
would-
like that?
I think that makes a lot of sense. For the record, this was like how the previous one was laid out, so. It just said
It's-
grass.
Yeah.
that's what I looked at, that's what I
Yeah.
brought. Because like, I looked at it and thought, okay, I changed more than I thought I did.
Yeah.
Because it was because the way Jim would say it would be, any weeds which are spreading or maturing seeds or about
Right.
to do so. So that in theory is, I mean, a weed is anything that's where you don't want it to be.
Right.
Kind of. And then it says, including but not limited to, and then it lists the toxic or the noxious ones.
Yeah.
And so instead of just replacing but including but not limited to, and adding the noxious weeds from the new version of the Ohio Revised Code, I took out that whole thing. So that, I've got a kind of what would be a correction for that, but I think, which is the third version. The first thing is what the code is now. The
Right.
second thing is the draft ordinance, and the last thing is trying to fix what I did in the draft ordinance.
Yeah.
So
sense.
just I'm playing it out. I've got cone flowers. So once that they're done flowering, they dry up and the little seeds can fall out. Birds come and eat them. So that would be,
I mean, it's not a weed at that
It's-
point. That's a managed plant.
so that would count because it's in managed areas.
Yeah.
I
So if
like,
we-
yeah,
if we
that's why
add
I
that-
like the managed better.
Yeah, I think if we add that distinction, then that cuts out
Were
someone
there-
reporting that they don't like their
Neighbors.
neighbor's flowers
Were there
or whatever.
definitions for unmanaged areas and other?
Say that again?
Were there definitions for like unmanaged areas and other ordinances? Did we look?
Some of them were
Or
like
were they
managed
very-
areas, including but not limited to gardens, flower beds, native plantings, etc.
Yeah.
It is something that definitely has
Yeah.
like language that other people have used.
Right.
I mean, I think you never want to say, of course people will know what we mean,
Mm-hmm.
because that's where you get into trouble. But there is some way
Including
to
but not.
define it so,
I think I would like to add that just
Yeah,
so
I
people
think it
aren't
makes
worried.
sense.
Yeah.
and that way people say like, okay, well, I'm managing this area. This
Right.
is like, this is intentional, basically, versus this is not an intentionally, like, I just
Right.
don't want to mow my lawn for 10 years, so.
Garden bed. Garden flower flower beds, etc.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that way people can grow whatever flowers they want in their gardens.
Right. Yeah, because
Um,
I have like neighbors who grow corn stalks during the summer.
Yeah.
You know, things like that.
Like, I
Yeah.
grow milkweed in
I don't.
my
I don't think
garden.
Mr. Shelby would go out and ticket them for that, but
No, no.
someone
And,
gets
like-
upset about it. We don't.
So yeah, like right now, I'm in violation of this ordinance in my garden.
Yeah.
Because I have goldenrod that's setting seed. And I do that on purpose because I like it.
You're helping the pollinators.
And it is like on purpose. It's not just growing
Yeah.
near the sidewalk obstructing views. It's in my garden area. Let's not talk about how I haven't weeded around it. That's neither here nor there, but
They're not 8 inches.
Yeah, they're not
Yes.
tall enough to be a problem yet.
yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of my thought.
Yeah.
I can find that language actually.
Yeah, 'cause I'm,
Because I saw it in like some city, I looked at like several cities' ordinances, and then I didn't
Yeah.
bring my tablet today because I forgot to grab it and I was in a
Yeah.
hurry.
That is okay.
it doesn't look like Cincinnati's.
Yeah, it was like Mace. It was some city in this area.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Here,
goodness
let me-
help me if I can remember what it is now. Okay, is it Loveland?
Here, let's see.
Make sure you put an S at the end of weed, because you
Yeah.
get a different result without it.
Yeah,
I added noxious.
It's still, it's still,
We're all adults. This feels like a meeting with lawyers for sure. We're just Googling things. Oh, here's one for Yellow Springs.
Yeah, it's not Mason's
you know,
either.
Loveland just says vegetation.
So this one, Yellow Springs says, examples of managed natural landscapes include butterfly gardens. We're not gonna have prairies or meadows. Forests, rain gardens.
yeah, it was like managed natural landscapes, managed landscaping,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Managed landscaping
This
sounds
says-
common sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Weeds, this is just, Amberley. Weeds shall be defined as all grasses, annual plants, vegetation, shall not include cultivated flowers, decorative grasses, and gardens.
so same idea,
Yeah.
like saying this stuff was meant to be here, so it's
Yeah.
okay.
And we can just do including but not limited to. And
Yes, and that way,
hopefully that
because
will be,
otherwise there's like, well, this is technically
Yeah.
a rain garden
Yeah.
and blah blah.
And then we can run it by Jim and see if he has any issues. It does look like that would work.
I would
Okay.
hope that would be sufficient.
Yeah, then hopefully that kind of really doesn't change too much for him, but makes it clear that people,
Yeah.
because I've had like Aaron Lockridge emailed me being like, hey, I support this.
Those are
I
my-
just- I
those are
wanted
my
to-"
neighbors.
Yeah, I was gonna say, your neighbors, so, like, I wanna do this planting, but I don't wanna be in violation of the
Oh, yeah,
ordinance.
yeah.
And I'm like, I think it'll be fine, you just gotta figure out the language. so,
Yes. Hopefully no one on Mills called about their lovely gardens.
Yes,
All right.
but yeah,
Does that seem sufficient to you, Mr.? Law director?
Yeah, I think I can do, yeah, Yellow Springs has it, but theirs code is a lot different.
It is very different. That was just the first one that popped up when I put in
Yeah.
managed.
if I know I have it in my tablet, like history.
Yeah,
I have a
so-
link in, so I usually like email myself the things I look
Right.
at, so it's in there somewhere, it's just I can't get it on my phone.
Here, maybe if I just do definition of managed landscape instead of
Well, it's
Ojai.
putting it in the context of, we're gonna ban
Right.
something.
Right.
And this is, and so it's just, you know, that's one of those, it's, yeah. The key is that you have to, yeah, it is, should be, I wish you could write a code that says, it's obvious, this should be cut down.
Yeah.
But
It's like.
Yeah.
I don't wanna,
it's, common sense doesn't
like-
fit in a code.
You
so-
know that when you see it.
Technically, that's obscenity.
Exactly.
not to censor you
I
at a committee
appreciate your
meeting.
clarification.
some people
That does
think
make a
weeds are
difference.
obscene, but it's a different type of obscenity.
I'm
But yeah, I
gonna need to clear my my Google history after this.
But yeah, I can email it to everyone as soon as I find it.
Yeah.
Because there was one that was fairly similar to our code in its language, except it kind of had that language about differentiating gardens from unmanaged areas.
This one also
which I
says
like.
rain gardens, conservation landscaping, native plant gardens,
Yeah,
meadow
so-
vegetation.
And that would allow, like, let's say,
Yellow Springs?
I don't know, we
This
wanted-
one's another, Arlington County.
let's say
I
we
don't
wanted
even
to
know
like
where.
put in
It's
like a
just what
native
Google-
planting in a park.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
And
that's
I
different.
Like
But-
rain gardens.
Your rain gardens and stuff, so.
And it looks like everyone has including but not limited to, so hopefully that would cover our common sense bases.
Well, as
We
close
like
to
to
common
think-
sense
Well, there's a
as you
bunch,
can
like,
get.
since it's just like weeds and
Yeah.
noxious plants, is what it's just like, we all know what weeds are what you don't want, and so.
Yeah. Yeah, again, we can make sure that people are happy, and I think that there's a way to get the language right.
We could say, some of these say like ornamental trees and flowers.
Or cultivated,
Yeah.
or like, yeah,
Okay.
cool.
I feel like hopefully that settles everything.
I hope so.
I would love to not look at this ordinance again.
It's enough for the next draft.
Yeah.
And then Jeff will ask a question, and we'll have to, change the
Rewrite it.
size
You know
for it.
what? I love meeting up with everybody. Okay.
And, yeah, I was gonna bring my baby actually to this meeting, but then like, what if actually there's more law stuff that I didn't realize and this goes on for 45
Oh,
minutes?
no,
that
it
would've-
was just
That
this.
would've spiced it up.
That would have pressed the.
That's true, but
We-
apparently he just fell asleep,
We
so.
kept it short and sweet for this. Okay, I think we should be good, and then we can just look at the draft and figure it out. All right,
Can you do anything else?
yeah, that's
My
all I put
tab-
on the
We're
agenda.
golden.
Go, cool, my task is just to find the thing I looked at
Yeah, if you want to send that.
a
to
month and a half ago. I will send it if I find it.
History.
Okay,
Yes, somewhere in the history it's there.
excellent. All right, I think we can adjourn.